So you're trying to get better at builds and you see all these videos with people doing quadruple edits, high ground retakes, all of that, and you're like, that's cool, but it doesn't seem realistic to a real game scenario. Most fights come down to a box fight anyways. I want to learn skills that will help me box fight. Now obviously with box fighting you have editing, you have builds, and you have peeking, but there's two mechanics that go unsung and unnoticed a lot of times that will basically make or break whether you win a box fight and whether you're an effective box fighter or an effective builder in general. These tips will help you not only box fight, but to build effectively in Fortnite. These two mechanics, crosshair placement and piece control, are the most unsung, most important mechanics that you can learn to improve instantaneously. So I'm going to show you in this video the maps that I use to practice these mechanics, and I'm going to show you why you need to practice these mechanics. So let's get into the video. So I'm going to load into a simple creative map just to show you what crosshair placement really is and why you need to practice it. So I think this can best be illustrated by the simple, this scenario with the simple cone and floor. If you're going to make a triple edit out of here, or even after you make the edit, if you're going to place cones or do any of that, if you have bad crosshair placement, it'll look something like this, right? You get the double edit and you just go whoosh, whoosh, and you end up with your crosshair down here in a bad scenario where you need to bring it back up, either get that there or back up here all the way to get the cone in and to get the high ground retake going or whatever it is that you need to get going. Versus if you have optimal crosshair placement, you're going to make a very minimal movement like that, and your crosshair is already going to be back up in the center to hit the triple edit like that, or to hit the cone up here and whatever you need to do. Think about the simple scenario where you need to double edit like that down in someone's box to full piece them or whatever it is you need to do to get the piece control going. If you have bad crosshair placement, you can end up doing that very easily. You can end up doing that very easily versus keeping your crosshair in the center and then having it ready to be place those two walls right away right there and get the cone in all in one swift motion like that, right? So it's very important to have good crosshair placement. Now, how can you practice it? You can practice it, by just going into creative like this and really focusing on it, or you can use a map like I did to practice it. So I'm going to show you the best map that I use to practice my crosshair placement, and it has a few good exercises in there for piece control, which ironically is our next topic. Punch it in. It's also going to be in the description of the video, so don't worry about it. Load on in. I load into a private game, so you have to deal with other people making input delay, increasing the ping, messing with your courses, all that. So crosshair placement is twofold. It's making the most minimal movement with your mouse as possible to hit the next edit, to hit the edit you're currently trying to make. And it's also keeping your crosshair in an optimal position to do that. I'll show you this. Go over here to crosshair placement edit courses, and let's just say wall. You're gonna follow the circle as closely as you can to hit the edit, right? So this will train you. And then here, it's a little dash, circle, dash, dash, dash. As you can see, I haven't done this course yet in a while, but you get the picture. And essentially, this will make sure you're not doing any exaggerated movements when you make these sorts of edits. You're keeping your crosshair in an optimal spot to hit the next build, the next edit, whatever it is that you need to do. That sort of thing. Floor and cone one's going to focus on what we talked about earlier, with this double edit here, or right here, hitting the most minimal movement you can with your mouse, and then going down, either doing that number or doing that number, right? If you're hitting the double edit in someone's box, you're doing that number, usually not doing a double wide edit like that to expose yourself, but you get the picture. Here, the all builds one has stairs, which stairs are a very difficult one to get right, so it's always good to practice the stairs in my opinion. So that is crosshair placement. Once you have your crosshair placement down, you are ready to practice piece control. Now I'm loading back into the same map for that because they have some piece control drills in there that are really useful. Piece control is basically trying to own every single piece that you can around an enemy build, around an enemy player, so that way they don't have an escape route. So that way you have all the builds around them, you have all the power. The reason we practice crosshair placements first is that if you're not placing your crosshair in an optimal spot to be able to take the next build or the next wall or place the next edit, you're not going to have good piece control. So you need to have the crosshair placement down before you practice piece control. So let's just grab a pump. Let's grab an AR. Let's go into a piece control drill. For this drill, you're just going to build as much as you possibly can around the enemy bot. Now you can see I haven't really done this one in a while, but you get the picture. So this is drill one. Very easy, simple drill. So number two, if you hit what to do, it'll show you here. You're gonna hit the wall, you're gonna hit this, you're gonna double edit down, pop. Wall, double edit down, pop. Wall here, double edit down, pop. You can also place obviously the stair or the code in there as well. Wall here, double edit down, pop. Drill 3, what to do? Kind of a similar drill. You're gonna edit down like this, boom. I don't know why they did that wide edit, maybe just to show what you do, but that's not really the edit you want to do here. You want to do that sort of peak, or that sort of peak, or even this peak, or not that peak, wow, this peak, like that, right? You don't want to make this wide edit, because then you're just exposing yourself. Hey, I want to get one pump. So you're going to go down, pump the wall, pop. Or, you know, you place the cone in there, or you can smack it so you have the shot in your pump, whatever you choose, but you get the drill, right? And then out here they have another bot that you can piece up. I like to place the wall here, and then you go down, smack it, boom, in, pop. So you will get in the habit eventually of placing as many builds as possible. So picture like I'm following an enemy player, right? Like if these builds didn't exist and I was following an enemy player, I would want to be placing wall, just piecing as I'm going, right? Because it helps when an enemy has to turn around and build. Oh, they realize that wall's not theirs. If you're getting the habit of when you're following an enemy, just placing builds in their tunnel or in their box, whatever it is, you're going to get very good very fast. They have these piece control tunnels as well. In this piece control tunnel, you're going to place as many builds as possible. Like that. Obviously, that was really slow. You're going to want to do it a lot faster than I just did. But you get the picture. So then, when you put it all together, when you have, okay, I practice crosshair placement, piece control in these creative maps. How do I practice them in a real game scenario? Obviously, you could practice it in a real game scenario. But if you want to get rapid practice, piece control PvP, I just found this map. There's usually almost always players on it. So in this map, you can see it's set sort of in scenarios where you're supposed to, you know, piece control and place as many builds as possible. Basically like a box fight. So as I'm going through these builds, picture you're following an opponent, right? I'm placing as many builds as I possibly can within here until I find an opponent. Also too, there's good old Turtle Wars. You can do that as well. The map's in the description. You see the code at the top of the screen. Show these creators some love who make these maps, by the way. I obviously didn't make these maps. So yeah, you also notice the secondary beneficiary to this will be your editing speed. But mostly you're focusing on editing accuracy, and the speed will come, right? What hurts more than ever is when you are inaccurately editing, like that edit right there, inaccurate. So yeah, I just found this map today. So yeah, I just found this one right here today, and it actually is proving to be like one of the better maps for just like getting real practice. He's controlling as many different like box fighting scenarios as he would. Like you're not doing high ground retakes on this map, really. It's all like a box fight piece control scenario, which is what most fights in Fortnite come down to nowadays. Well, that was really laggy. I just dropped a lot of packets. Something you'll notice in the video is that I didn't discuss a lot of the angles that you take when you piece control. I think that's a little bit of a more advanced mechanic that you have to learn after the fact, after you build the habit of piece controlling, after you build a good habit of having good crosshair placement, because if you don't have the initial habit of, you know, thinking right away, oh, I'm going to piece this person in this scenario, and I'm going to have a good crosshair placement while doing it, really taking the angle doesn't matter at all. So in a future video, I'm going to have a guide on taking correct angles when you piece control, or you can look up a different video on it. Salty Pro Tips is pretty good, but taking the correct angle, you know, when you go to full piece somebody, and make sure you only edit out a minimal window, a minimal space that you need to take as many pieces as possible. Making sure you're covering yourself as much as possible when you're piece controlling is a crucial skill to have. But none of it matters if you don't have the habit of piece controlling, if you don't have decent crosshair placement. So that was the point of this video. The point of this video was to, hey, get you in the habit of having good crosshair placement, get you in the habit of piece control. And once you have those habits, and then you can, you know, build on those. I have another video up on the different mechanics that you have to have, like editing, aiming, those sorts of things. But this video, I really wanted to focus on piece control specifically, with crosshair placement going hand in hand with that. And as the sort of beginner's entry level into those two mechanics. And then, you know, in future videos, we'll expand upon it and make it a whole series where, okay, now you've built these concepts. Okay, here's how you can improve it. So those are the two most important skills, in my opinion, that get overlooked. There's obviously skills you need to have to box fight. Like you need to edit, that's basic. You need to aim, that's basic. You need to know how to peek, that's basic. But you also need good crosshair placement, good piece control. Those skills are often overlooked in favor of people quadruple editing, high ground retakes, all that fancy jazz that isn't applicable to a real game scenario. When you see Booga, Clicks, anybody in an end game, they're tarping, they're box fighting. You don't see them cranking the height unless they're taking the height in the end game and tarping on height, right? But they're not playing creative 1v1s in an end game scenario consistently against people. That's not how it works. You'll get beaten by the rest of your lobby. You need to know how to box fight. You can force any fight into a box fight, really. And it's the best skill to have in Fortnite. And those are the two mechanics that you need to learn to improve immediately.